I think I'd like to just look for a little bit more clarity, because if we look at people raising their vibrational frequency, which is something that we talk about a lot, usually that seems to be into a place of happiness, of love, of joy. And I would have thought that that had a positive impact on humanity and on the planet, because at the moment the planet seems to be suffering from a lot of negativity. I could only imagine the more human beings that were in a state of positivity would help to balance that overall. So are there negative aspects to being positive?
There are negative aspects to being positive, and there are positive aspects to being negative. But it is the neutral position that has the balance. When you are talking about raising the vibrational frequency of humanity, or whether you are lowering the vibrational frequency of humanity, it is beyond that which is the nature of yourself and how you are in the world. You need to really ingratiate or absorb the information or the energy that you are not the ego, that you are not the physical body, you are not the mind. It is the important question of what are you? When you answer that question, then of course you can see that you are the universe if you can locate yourself in the physical body, or if you can locate yourself in the mind, or can you locate yourself in the universe. What's important is that from the positive perspective that you are talking about in raising the vibrational frequency, then that does have a positive effect on the planet, of course. It is part of you, the planet, in terms of your vibrational frequency. And it is the balance that the universe is seeking to have. So what it will do is, when there is too much positivity, it will create negativity. And that is the balance, because it is trying to bring everything into balance, and the balance is within neutrality.
Like a seesaw. I know that Dr. David Hawkins has done a lot of work calibrating emotions. And, you know, the emotions of love and bliss are much higher than those of shame and blame and judgment and anger. With so many humans residing in those negative emotions, would you still recommend that we enjoy the higher frequency emotions?
Of course we would. That is part of why you are here as a human being on this planet, to enjoy the nature of that which is life that you create. But when you look out there, and of course we are talking about freedom, when you understand what is freedom, it is conscious awareness, creating that which is the life that you desire, not from the position of fear, but from love, then you are creating the life that you desire to lead. And within that is the vibrational frequency, which is positive. And what we would also say is, in terms of humanity as a whole, when you are desiring as a civilization a different way of being in the world, then you need to understand that that is possible when you move more and more into neutrality. You understand and would desire that the different way of being in the world for humanity will be that you all are positive, that you all are coming from love, that you all are doing everything that you desire from a happiness perspective. But it is also that which is part of the neutrality. You can have both.
So if we're consciously aware that we're happy, but that's not who we are, go back to that, that is more sustainable. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you look at the analogy of the seesaw, what happens when you push one end of the seesaw down? The other goes up. And what happens when you let go?
Bangs back down again.
It comes back into balance. Eventually, it comes back into balance. It is like the pendulum. When you swing it, it will continue to swing from positive to negative, but eventually it will come back into neutrality. It will come back to a stillness. That is what humanity itself needs to start moving towards. Not the swinging effect from positive to negative, is to move to that balance, like the seesaw, come to stability.
Another word that's coming to mind is peacefulness.
Well, that is
neutrality?
That is part of neutrality. But if you can understand as a human civilization that if an aspect of humanity is at war, is at, we would say, in violence or controlling, whatever it is you desire, as a negative, then there will be a corresponding aspect of humanity that is positive, that is existing in love and happiness, because that is the balance of the seesaw. But if you always maintain that, then you will always have that dual aspect. There is always the positive happiness. There will always be the negative warring. So what is important is to get the balance right, is to have as many people that are consciously aware of the nature of neutrality, because there is no, we would say, duality within neutrality. There is only a duality when there is positive, because the balancing aspect of that is negativity, and the other way around.
And do you feel that is something that's possible for humanity?
If that is what humanity desires, that is what will occur. It is a matter of the desire of each individual that makes up humanity to desire to move to that neutral position, that they can move out with understanding that if they are having a positive, pleasurable experience in life, that the universe balances that with a negative, perhaps unpleasant experience. But it is from that neutral position, that non-judgmental observational position, where there is neither pleasure or negativity, that humanity will find a different way of being in the world.
So what does a civilization look like that actually does exist in this state of neutrality?
In terms of this state of neutrality, as we have said, each individual person or aspect of that civilization, from a conscious perspective, has detached themselves from that which is the experience. They know and understand that they are not the experience, so it does not create an opposite effect, because there is nothing to support it from an ego perspective. So conscious awareness creates pleasure and observes it, but understands that it is not it. So there is not a corresponding negative experience somewhere else in the world. There is not a need to balance, because conscious awareness is stability. Conscious awareness is balance.
So a higher civilization could enjoy all that, knowing that it isn't it, and yet it somehow feels more inspiring to aim for that.
Well, inspiration is part of being consciously aware, and understanding that through inspiration, through desire and intention, then you can remove yourself from the experience, understand that you are not the experience, but still have an understanding of the experience itself, still participate in the experience, but not become caught up in the nature of the outcome of that experience.
It also sounds wonderful to think that there wouldn't be people suffering and having all of the negative experiences.
That is important.
Yes. What would a day be like for somebody who was living in that state of balance?
Well, it would be because, from a conscious awareness perspective, you would be choosing to have positive experiences, but you would not have, as we have said, the negative aspect arising somewhere else in the world to create that as a balance. So you will be living a love-based, compassionate way of being in the world. You can have what it is that you desire. When you manifest and understand that what you manifest comes from love, comes from that neutral, balanced position, then life itself will be so much different. You will not have, or will not be drawn to the extremes of emotions. And you will, in terms of that which is negative, you will lose that. But you will maintain, if that is your conscious desire, that of the positive or pleasurable experiences, you will maintain that. But conscious awareness itself, which is the truth of you, remains in the neutral position.
So the outcome sounds wonderful. And humanity has an opportunity to reach this state.
Of course.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.